The ground shakes, drums pound, and the air fills with the roar of battle cries. You can feel it, that wild, unstoppable energy that only one kind of army brings to the old world. But you wonder, are the Orcs and Goblins the tribe you're meant to lead into the war? Well, wonder no more, because at the end of this video, you'll know exactly what you need in order to make that decision. It's hammer time. Hey old worlders, Stefan here for Hammer Time. Picking your army is one of the biggest choices you'll make when diving into Warhammer the Old World. And if you're drawn to brutal strength, reckless energy, and love a pure, glorious mayhem, then the Orcs and Goblins might just be your perfect match. In this video, I'll break down what makes the Greenskins unique and why they might be the most unpredictable, entertaining army you'll ever field, or your biggest headache. So, who are the Orcs and Goblins? They are the Green Tide, a sprawling mass of savage tribes that live for one thing and one thing alone, a good fight. They don't build empires or care about politics. They don't need reasons to go to war. For them, war is the reason. The Orcs and Goblins are collectively known as the Greenskins, a catch-all term for countless tribes, from hulking orcs and sneaking goblins to wolf riders, trolls, and giants. When they fight, it's under the banner of the WAAAGH, a rolling wave of destruction that crashes over the civilized world whenever the tribes unite behind a particularly strong or loud war boss. Orc society is simple. The biggest and strongest one is in charge and everyone else follows or gets flattened. But that brutal simplicity is what makes them so dangerous. When a charismatic war boss like WAAAGH the Slaughterer or Grimgor Ironhide rises to power, the tribes stop squabbling long enough to become an unstoppable force that can crush kingdoms. Goblins, on the other hand, are smaller, sneakier, and meaner. They rely on tricks, traps, and an overwhelming number to make up for their lack of strength. They also bring a ton of variety to the army. Night goblins with fanatics, forest goblins riding giant spiders, and common goblins with all kinds of devious contraptions. And then there are squigs, part fungus, part monster, and all teeth. Squigs are one of the most iconic creatures in Greenskin lore. Bouncing balls of muscle and madness that goblins herd into battle, or at least try to. They come in all shapes and sizes, from tiny snapping squig hoppers to enormous cave-dwelling mangler squigs that can swallow a man whole. They're deadly, hilarious, and completely unpredictable, perfectly summing up what it means to fight for the war. Together, the Orcs and Goblins are the embodiment of wild, unfiltered energy. They fight because it's fun, they squabble because they can, and when their fighting is done, they just look for someone else to punch. What makes them iconic is their sheer chaos and personality. No two Orcs and Goblin armies ever look the same, or play the same for that matter. They are the ultimate expression of mayhem, laughter, and violence in the old world. Look and feel. The Orcs and Goblins are an explosion of color, noise, and attitude. They're the most visually chaotic army in Warhammer the Old World. A sprawling mix of green-skinned warriors, mismatched armor, rusty weapons, and ramshackle war machines. The color palette is dominated by greens and browns, but splashed with stolen colors from looted banners, bright war paint, and jagged glyphs scrawled across shields and armor. Orcs look rough and brutal, broad-shouldered, scarred, and covered in crude armor, while goblins are wiry, sharp-featured, and full of wicked energy. On the battlefield, the army looks like a living horde, a roiling wave of green bodies crashing towards the enemy. You'll see mobs of orc boys jostling for space, goblins hiding behind shields or pushing contraptions that look ready to explode, and lumbering trolls and giants towering over the rest. Everything feels alive, noisy, and barely under control, like a riot in motion. Then there are the squigs, a riot of color and madness in miniature form. Bright reds, orange, and purples burst out among the greens as these bouncing, snarling balls of teeth and muscle launch themselves into the fray. Whether it's tiny squig hoppers bouncing around with gleeful goblins on their backs, or enormous cave squigs charging headfirst into the fight, they add a wild, unpredictable splash of color and humor to the army. Painting the Greenskins is pure creative freedom. You can mix different shades of green, add tribal markings, and experiment with war paint, rust, and grime. Every model can be unique. No two Orcs or Goblins ever look the same. When it's all ranked up, the army looks like pure chaos given form. A crashing tide of greens, reds, and browns, filled with movement, noise, and personality. It's not elegant or uniform, and that's what makes it so striking. An Orc and Goblins army on the table doesn't look like a regimented force, it looks like a living wall about to explode. Playstyle. So now you've seen the colors, the creatures, the chaos, but this army doesn't exist to be admired, it exists to be unleashed. And the moment Orcs and Goblins actually start fighting is where everything you've seen so far suddenly makes sense. This is where the army's true personality comes alive. And by the way, if this is the kind of madness you want more of in your feed, liking the video helps YouTube understand that quickly. Subscribing makes sure you don't miss where my next wall crashes. If you want order, precision, and total reliability, this isn't your army. But if you want wild swings of fortune, explosive moments and games where you can benignly laugh whether you win or lose, then welcome to the wall. Orcs and Goblins feel fast, reckless, and full of momentum. Big mobs of orc boys, savage orcs, and elite black orcs form the brutal core of your army. These are your forward-moving fighters, loud, aggressive, and always looking for the next fight. Your war bosses, especially among the black orcs, don't just lead from the front, they crash right into the heart of the enemy and drag the whole battle with them. Your goblins bring the sneaky, chaotic side of the army. This is where you find sudden tricks, unexpected problems, and constant disruption. They're not brave, they're not noble, but they are endlessly annoying in exactly the way Greenskins should be. Then there are your shamans, unstable, dangerous, and unforgettable. Greenskin magic feels like raw power forcing its way through reality. When it works, it's devastating, and when it doesn't, it's spectacularly messy. Either way, no two battles feel ever the same. And towering over it all are the monsters and war engines. Giant creatures, rampaging beasts, and roaring war machines turn the battlefield into a moving disaster zone. When the whole army surges forward at once, it doesn't feel like a clean military advance, it feels like a green tidal wave. This army doesn't reward careful perfection, it rewards commitment, momentum, and chaos embraced at full speed. The Battalion Box, your first Orcs and Goblins army. If you're brand new and wondering where to actually start, the Orcs and Goblins Battalion Box is a strong first step into the army. Inside, you'll get 3 core parts of the Greenskin experience right away. A block of orc boys, a mass of goblins, and a pair of orc board chariots. What makes this box so useful for beginners is that it doesn't just give you models, it teaches you how this army functions. The orc boys hold your loud, stubborn center. These are the fighters that take space, take hits, and start the brawls. The goblins give you numbers, chaos, and the freedom to make bold moves without immediately risking your hardest hitters. And the chariots teach you timing. They're the sudden impact units that punish mistakes and swing momentum when the moment feels right. From this one box, you already have a full playable first army that truly feels like the Greenskins. You get a loud, stubborn orc core, the CEO of troublesome goblins, and the raw impact of charging chariots. Everything you need to start playing, learning, and experiencing what it actually means to unleash a wall upon the tabletop. So is this army for you? Now comes the real question. Not about rules, not about numbers, but about what kind of experience you actually want on the table. Choose Orcs and Goblins if you love armies that feel wild, loud, and full of personality. If you enjoy huge swings of fortune, ridiculous moments, and battles that turn into stories you'll remember long after they're over. If you like commanding a force that mixes brutal fighters, sneaky troublemakers, and strange monsters, all in one army. This is an army for players who value fun, chaos, and character over control. Avoid Orcs and Goblins if you strongly prefer clean, precise, and reliable armies. If randomness frustrates you, or if you enjoy elite, tightly controlled forces more than messy, unpredictable hordes, this army does not promise stability, it promises stories. The Greenskins fight because it's fun, because it's loud, and because the world is something to smash and laugh at afterwards. But not all wars are fought for joy. Somewhere beyond the wreckage and the roaring laughter, darker banners are already rising. Gods are whispering, and warriors are answering those calls, not for fun, but for the power of any cost. The road now leads towards the warriors of chaos. I'll see you there.